Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin, Bitcoin dominance, total 2 divided by the BLX, all that you need to know about Bitcoin on where we are in the market, um, and even to try to speculate on short-term moves. As always, remember if you do like this video, hit the like button down below and also hit subscribe. Let's start off with the daily on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin right now is trading at just over $50,000. We've been here before. We're just above the 20-day moving average, but I would say, throughout the whole week, we've been wicking above it, closing below it, etc., etc. It wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't be surprising at the very least if we close below it today. If we do close above it, that could indicate some short-term bullishness, but the monumental task of getting above the prior all-time high will still be there. The idea is that we're able to hold this level um, for a little bit to allow for altcoins to catch up. Now, altcoins are somewhat rallying today. They rallied a few days ago. So we're kind of seeing that happen right now. But at the very least, or for the time being, the 20-day moving average is the average to beat. If we don't, then and we stay below the 20-day moving average, that could indicate still some moves from altcoins as long as Bitcoin stays relatively in this area. But we always run the risk that if we don't close above the 20-day, that further downside moves are potentially there. And obviously the next one would be the 20-week moving average. Now the 20-week moving average, and this is a pretty good segue to the weekly on the Bitcoin charts. The 20-day moving average is currently right now, if I can get my indicators up. Oh, let me get rid of the 140 moving average. That'll work. Distance to the moving average right now, it's about 60% above the 20-week moving average. A lot lower than where we were 4 weeks ago when we were at 120, and even before that where we're at 123% above the 20-week moving average. As long as we're above the 20-week moving average, things are pretty bullish. But again, if we're unable to close above the 20-day moving average, then the 20-week moving average might be the next target. Some would argue the 50-week moving average, because that's what happened when we bounced off of here at this point in time. I believe it was the 50-day moving average. But I think the 20-week moving average, at some point, we're going to have to make contact with it. Last time we made contact with it was in late fall, okay, like in October. And we have spent all this time above the 20-week moving average, and not once did we make contact with it. So that's something interesting to take into consideration. When we move to the monthly, now the monthly chart obviously won't give us some short-term price action, but it gives us a macro perspective of where Bitcoin is. So where we are currently with Bitcoin and the RSI, which I use in conjunction with the monthly chart, brings us to an RSI of 90.29. That is high. That is pretty overextended considering the chart history of Bitcoin. Now, where we are currently at 90.31. Okay, if I can get it there. Sure, 90.41. We are closer to the tops than we are at the bottoms now. And we've been that way for quite some time. And the tops are in the mid to high 90s on the RSI. Last year, not last year, but last cycle, it was 96.01. And the cycle before that, we got to a top of 96.63. It's pretty consistent. So we're not too far away, but we're not there yet. So I don't want to say like the end is near, because it could stay in the 90s for a long time. I mean, it can stay for months. Okay, like in the last cycle. So the peak was in January. We reached 90 on the RSI by October. So October, November, December, January is 4 months. So realistically, I mean, it could be months until we get to the mid 90s, and that's only if the trend continues. The trend does not have to continue. If we correct or anything of that nature, then obviously we'll retrace back down. And we notice that in each cycle, there was a double top on the RSI every time. So just because we retrace here, or say we do get to 96 on the RSI, that does not mean that that's going to be the top, so to speak. It could be a local top on its way to becoming a made like a global top in that sense. So that's something to take into consideration. So we are close, but we're not there yet. And within that period of time, a lot of things can happen. Most notably, altcoins should rally within this time period, I think. And we're still in Q1. March is still upon us. It's just beginning, and I think altcoins will benefit from this month of March. That's what I think in terms of where Bitcoin is, how Bitcoin's moving, um, and the state of altcoins right now. I feel like March is going to be a good month for altcoins at the very least. Moving on to the Bitcoin dominance chart, which is a good segue when we're talking about altcoins. The Bitcoin dominance chart 8 tells us the state of altcoins, the strength of altcoins against Bitcoin. Um, and this could help indicate what we can see for Bitcoin valuations of altcoins. So let's flip it to the weekly, because one thing we were looking at was the 140-week moving average. Why the 140-week moving average? Well, the 140-week moving average back in the fall, this dip right here, the dominance chart, that was indicative of, you could say, the DeFi craze. A lot of DeFi projects were really, really moving at that time. And when we look, the 140-week moving average proved to be a support. It was support here. The question was, the next time around, when we came back down to this level, was will it also again treat it as support? And it was. I mean, it was support for 3 weeks. We ultimately broke it last week. I was talking about how if we are able to close below the 140-week moving average, this could be indication that altcoins are gaining strength. And here we are. A new week is being printed, the week of March 8th, and we are now below the 140-week moving average. This is a slow moving average. This will play out very slowly, but progress is good. We're we have broke it. That means there's more room to go below. So the next target would be this support line right here. Hopefully we break through it. When we look at the monthly chart, it looks a lot better in terms of Bitcoin dominance. I mean, it's trending down. Like, how much more do you want? We're down 1%, sorry, 0.63 percentage points on Bitcoin dominance for the month of March. And the month is just beginning. So we'll definitely see how far we can go down. I believe that we can go down much further. Um, the target ultimately is to break this 59%, 58% support band, and find ourselves to be a lot lower. Uh, the question remains: do we go as low as 30%? That's that's a tall order for altcoins. I'd love to see it go down there, but who knows? We might see something that goes down to the low 50s, and even with the low 50s, that's a lot of movement for altcoins anyway. But that's kind of like what we see with the Bitcoin dominance. Altcoins are still rolling technically, because uh, we are now altcoins are outpacing Bitcoin for the past 3 months. That's something to take into consideration if you think of it that way. Bitcoin is being outpaced by altcoins generally for the past 3 months. Moving on to Total 2. Now, why do we use Total 2? Total 2 is the total cryptocurrency market cap excluding Bitcoin. So right now, the altcoin market is valued at $604 billion. One way we could also look at it is if we divide it by the BLX. Um, this will give us a Bitcoin valuation. So the total altcoin market is valued at 11.86 million Bitcoin. Um, Now I understand that, that's a little hard to think about, but I think this is a good way to look at the strength of it's kind of like the Bitcoin dominance, but in a numerical value. We see the strength of altcoins. So right now we have been trending up ever since January. 43% move on January. It was a great month, followed by a 6% move, and here we are at 2.65% up for the month of March. I do think it's gonna move in March, so we should see a larger candle throughout the end of the month. But we haven't seen much movement in the past 2 months with altcoins that considerably. Um, but this is kind of like what the chart looks like. We still yet to reach the prior all-time high for um, the Bitcoin valuation of total two, but I have no doubts that it'll come back to that level again, especially when we see moves from larger cap coins, most notably Ethereum. So, in closing remarks, we're in this very, very interesting situation here. Bitcoin is nearing the top, but we're not there yet. It could take a long time for another 5 points on the RSI. Uh, but that top is coming a lot faster than I've predicted, or I'm sure a lot of people thought. And we're in this situation where between now and then is where we would like to see all of our other assets start moving. And they already have been moving. We just expect more from them in between that time. So, time's ticking, especially if Bitcoin is continuing the rally. Time is ticking. We're not there yet. It won't be there for a long time. But relatively speaking, when we've first been talking about years, now we're talking about months if the rally continues on like this. And so that is the big difference. And that's something to keep in mind. We take Bitcoin very seriously because Bitcoin is the market mover. I mean, if Bitcoin decides to kick the bucket and break the 20-week moving average, guess what? Your altcoins are going to do far worse than Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin's top is in, that's or at least on the RSI, that should be indication for everyone to say, okay, the top is near. There might be one last hurrah with altcoins, but then after that, we might see a huge bear market. So that's kind of like something that we need to keep in the back of our minds. It's not here yet. We always have to be ready when it is here. Um, for me, I've already been selling my positions, not a lot, but because we've been moving up, I've been selling my positions. I think with every digital asset that I own, I've sold at least a part of it, except for basic attention token. Um, because it hasn't hit my first target yet. But everything else I've sold a portion of. So you can use the strategy of slowly selling your position the farther it goes up. If you're waiting for years, that's a strategy too. Um, Maybe you're waiting for the market cycle top. In which case, best of luck to you. It's going to be a monumental task to actually time it, and I hope you do. But this is what we're seeing in the market now. Bitcoin is still bullish. Bitcoin's still above the 20-week moving average. Despite that, Bitcoin is at 90.27 on the RSI on the monthly chart, where the tops are usually in the mid 90s to high 90s. So we're nearing that, but we're not there yet. And when we do get there, I'll definitely speak my mind about it, and I'd probably back that up with heightening the pace of my selling. I think at that point. But right now, I think the current situation, all coins are primed to move. Altcoins are primed to move in March, and most likely Bitcoin's going to take that liquidity back in April. Uh, whether that's to the upside or to the downside. I mean, Bitcoin can correct 30%, altcoins can bleed more, and that way the Bitcoin dominance goes back up. But that's kind of like what I'm seeing right now. Let me know what you guys are thinking of in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.